committal decision.
But queen I don't get it. Queen to a3?
Because queen takes a7.
Yeah, queen takes a7.
It's back rank checkmate.
We mentioned this back rank tactic before. Here, white wins a pawn. It's not as important a pawn as the b7 pawn, but it's still a pawn. c4 is invulnerable for the moment. Cannot be captured because of queen to a8 with checkmate.
Is there something like I have no idea. He tries to free this side of the board so that he can coordinate quickly. Like
yeah, you can do that, but it's still a pawn. Like, yeah, I don't know. You can play g5 if you want. Bishop to b3. White can trade rook. Yeah, you want rook f6, I guess. Rook to e5 or something. Queen c5 coming. I mean, trade of queens. This is a healthy pawn.
Don't look at me like that. It's not my fault that he...
I'm just trying to figure out what he's seeing here, because queen a3 check is the move that we're going to have our laser focus on, because it's check and it wins the pawn. So queen a3, king, and if you go king g8, you still just take on a7, right? Because after queen a7, if you could make bishop takes h3 and white had to take back on h3, then that could be something, right? Because if you take on h3, then you get the bishop back on c4, white's king is in some danger. But you don't have to take on h3 there. In fact, you could think about the move, rook e8 check and take on f7. You could take on f7 right away and enter a rook endgame up a pawn.
Or queen takes f7 is even attacked.
Oh, queen f7 is one. And rook e8 check after.
Rook e8, king h7, bishop f7.
That's fun.
White is still up a pawn. I mean, we can discuss if this is winning or not, but why would black enter this, whether or not it's winning? Even if you defend it somehow, I don't understand how you enter this willingly. And in fact, I don't think white wants to trade queens, because if we go back just two moves, rook to e8, king h7, bishop takes f7, I'm interested in a mating attack as well. I was looking at queen g5, bishop g8, and if king g6, there's queen f7 mate. But queen to g5 is, of course, not forced. Maybe black has something better there. I actually see now the move rook to g6. Yeah, rook g6.
Oh, wow, what a move.
Yeah.
And if bishop g6, queen g6, we're looking at a double attack. Maybe the rook isn't even important, because it's more that g2 is indefensible. So, okay.
We're getting a little wild here, but back to the moment. Let's feel the drama. Jan Nepomniachtchi just played b5, and again, he has a lot of time on the clock, more time than his opponent. He must sense that the position has danger, because Magnus is playing it, and we know what he's capable of in these small advantage positions. So it makes me say that he must have calculated something concrete on b5, but the eval bar don't lie. They say ball don't lie. The eval bar don't lie. And when you've got a king in a position like this with diagonals and files open on all sides of the board, that's how blunders are made. They want to know how babies are made. This is how blunders are made, Robert. Now you know how both are made.
I wish you didn't throw over to me after saying that. But here we are. I've been putting up with you for years. No, but
hey, the kids are wondering, and now they know this is how blunders are made.
The birds and the bees. Okay, where's the stork? Anyway, queen a3 check seems just obvious, and I'm trying to figure this out, because if there's some endgame, so this is the thing that high-level players do, is even if it costs them a pawn, if they see a rook endgame, let's say we trade the queens and white is up a pawn, but theoretically that position is a draw, then that's a good reason to enter this, because you make sure that you won't blunder given the pressure of the position, but you know that at the end of the day you have a rook in 3 versus rook in 2, these kind of theoretically drawn endgames. But I don't see a path towards that. And that just makes this even riskier than you can imagine. And as we're looking at these positions, maybe there's some kind of bishop takes h3 tactic. We were just looking at that position, but
yeah, we were discussing it, but those are not simple endgames.
No, not at all.
This is the only idea I see for black is bishop takes h3 here, and you try to trade off a few pieces. You weaken white's king side. Let's assume there's nothing immediately decisive for white involving an attack.
That might be a big assumption, but
well, I also like going to a rook ending. Just queen f7, bishop f7, king f7, gh3. Now, even before rook e8, just take on f7 first, because I'd rather
just take on f7.
Just take on f7. No.
What's
queen f7, bishop takes f7 check.
Queen takes f7.
Oh, you're just going.
Yeah, go for the rook endgame. Because maybe it's draw. I don't know, but black also has weaknesses. h4 is weak. Of course, white has a lot of weak pawns, and they do say, All rook endgames are drawn.
I didn't say that first.
Yeah.
I mean, I have said it,
but not all of them are really drawn.
well, of course. And Magnus, by the way, has played Queen A3 check. But I think you're on the right track anyway, because there must be something like that Jan was trying to go for. Because Robert made a good point that a resourceful defender will be willing to sacrifice material to go to an endgame they know is a theoretical draw, right? They don't care about the eval bar if they know, hey, that's a drawn rook ending. I don't care that I'm down a pawn. But there's no clear path here, right? It looks like it's just a pawn, and all the compensation remains, as our buddy Yasser Serwan would say. White has the pawn and the attack.
Yes, and maybe we aren't diving as deeply as Jan did. He was spending time, whether he's sitting at the board or calculating while he's walking around. But this doesn't look good. This is a situation where he decided to lash out rather than sit passively, and that makes perfect sense. In fact, that's often our instincts as chess players. We don't want to sit and defend for hours and hours. The last time that happened, Magnus ended up winning in the 8th hour. And so Jan says, let me try to solve my problems very concretely, but it's not concrete. I mean, we're going to have to keep diving into these positions with King G8 and Queen takes A7, but I would be really worried. And it's not like Queen takes A7 is forced, by the way. After King G8, Rook E7 is another possibility. So if we just play that line right here just to show that after King G8, Rook E7, I'm giving up my bishop on C4 to get your bishop on D7. And then you have this A7 pawn. I am sort of leaving my king on G1, so that could be quite risky. But the pawn structure is worse for black. White is very active. So unless black sees a way for it here, then that also is something that you have to consider.
Robert, so I like your idea of not taking E7. So I was looking at Rook E7, but then after BC4, Rook D7, Queen F4, I feel like this idea of Queen C1, F4 with the perpetual will probably lead to a draw. But actually, I noticed a move, which is a very unusual one after King G8, Queen to E7.
Ah.
I want the same thing. If BC4, Queen D7, I'm attacking a lot of your pawns, but a lot of them are weak. But black can simply take on and Rook D6.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's leading to
Which line here?
Instead of B takes C4, just Queen takes E7 and Rook D6, the lines we've been...
Yeah, we looked at that line.
Yeah, Rook D6. No, this doesn't work out for white. So forget Queen E7. Probably Queen takes A7 is the right move, right?
But the thing is, right, I just want to freeze at this point here. There's so many different options. Queen A7 we've been looking at, Rook E7, Queen E7, and a question that sort of I'm wondering about, like, if you play Bishop B3, which is kind of risky because you're losing sight of the third rank, and Bishop takes H3 might already be a problem. But sometimes you can play a calm move like this and say, you've helped me out because your A7 pawn can't be defended except by Queen takes D4, but then Rook D1 happens, and now your Bishop on D7 is loose. Or my Queen or Rook comes into E7